die with a pure soul, or sell it just to see them burn. At first you scream, then you break down crying, and after 300 days of being scorched by the sun, you just stare. I watch the sand drift on its own. I watch that thing observe me. Fear has left me. I no longer have the energy for it. All I wanted was to stand up once and finish this nightmare. I used to be the king. Now, I'm just a broken wreck. I've watched everything slip away. Merchants, thieves, people who once wouldn't dare look me in the eye. Help? Forget about it. They pause, dump their anger on me, then head off to the city I used to command. They follow orders from my treacherous brother. If he truly wanted me gone, my throat would have been slit already. That would have been a kindness. But no, he keeps me breathing because he understands memories wound deeper than iron chains. When I shut my eyes, I hear them again. It wasn't me screaming. It was them, my wife, my children. He didn't grant them a swift death. He did something far crueler. He draped the throne in proof of his slaughter and forced me to sit upon it. To sit. He wanted me to feel death's weight clinging to my back before dragging me out to this hell. And if I'm still alive after 300 days, it's not luck. It's his deliberate wish to degrade me and savor my suffering. He refuses to let me die. Every noon, a guard appears. A handful of filthy water and scraps even his dogs wouldn't touch. Just enough to keep my heart beating, but never enough to let me stand. Because he knows the moment I die, his entertainment ends. But yesterday, the pattern broke. The guard didn't bring the usual dirty water. He came himself. He arrived with his personal butchers, the worst in the realm. My brother didn't dismount. He stared down at me, handkerchief over his nose, as though I carried the plague. "Still breathing?" he asked. His tone held only mockery, no mercy. I tried to spit at him, but my mouth was so parched only dust came out. He leaned from the saddle close enough for me to see the hatred burning in his eyes. "Father gave you everything, remember the throne, the glory. Me he treated like a stray cur." He paused and gestured toward the endless sand. "So where is your glory now?" "I have the kingdom. You have sand." He signaled his men to leave, but then halted. He turned back one last time, smiling a smile that chilled my blood in 40-degree heat.
Fought wars in the desert.
Almost forgot. Your eldest, Sihara. My heart stopped. I thought he'd killed her with the rest. "We spared her," he said softly. "She's far too valuable to discard." She cooks and pours wine for my generals until she collapses from exhaustion. This way, she'll learn the hard way that in my world she is nothing but a servant. Perhaps I'll bring her here soon so she can see her father one final time. That night, when the sun sank, something inside me shattered forever. I looked up at the sky, but no longer searched for gods of light. They permitted this. They allowed my daughter to suffer. So I turned my back on them. I shouted at the earth. I shouted into the darkness. I offered my soul to anything that could grant me the strength to slaughter them all. And the ground answered. The wind died completely. My bare feet sensed the shift. The sand was no longer motionless. Something massive was gliding beneath it. I froze. Whatever shared this place with me was not human. It was watching me, taking its time. I felt the pressure of an ancient stare locked on the nape of my neck, weighing not just my body, but my very soul. From the sand rose a dark silhouette. Its fangs pierced my ankle like red-hot nails. My body locked before my mind could react. Complete paralysis. Then came the deep, searing burn, fire racing through my veins. "The venom reaches the heart in 3 minutes," she said calmly, hypnotically, watching sand trickle. "That's how long you have to choose your eternity. When the final grain falls, you're either mine or a corpse." Why? I forced out between convulsions. Why now? Where were the gods when... Gods? Her laugh was brittle and dry. How quaintly human. Don't be foolish. There are no gods. Only one creator. She drew nearer while I writhed in agony. If multiple architects existed, this universe would have collapsed from their disputes. Observe it. She gestured toward the boundless horizon, the stars, the endless cycle of death. Creation is flawless, a perfect mechanism without error. Then your creator must be a cruel sadist, I screamed, my mouth filled with the taste of copper. He delights in watching evil rule over his own creation. You perceive cruelty through mortal eyes. This world is not what it appears to be. What you name pain, the creator calls equilibrium. She leaned close until her breath brushed my ear. Your so-called gods were merely a veil. They demanded purity, a martyr chained to this post to maintain the cosmic balance. Her features shifted. Vertical pupils widened, swallowing the fading light. But me, her expression darkened. I desire you tainted and triumphant. You were once a righteous king, soul unstained. That purity shielded you from my grasp. Your faith formed an unbreakable barrier. But today you renounced it all, shattered, and in doing so, you opened the gate. Time is running out, fallen monarch. The last grains are falling. Your brother no longer follows mortal rules, she added, as my breathing grew shallow. He has already struck his own bargain, not with someone like me, but with the one that bears no name. She allowed a few more grains to slip. Seconds remained. Die here as an honorable man, and Sihara will serve his monsters for all eternity. My limbs no longer obeyed. My eyelids grew heavy. I'm going to die, I realized, and he will mock my corpse while he degrades her. That single thought scorched me worse than the poison. I lunged forward and seized the Lamia's wrist, halting the sand's descent. If I surrender my soul to you, do you swear I'll have the power to end him? I locked eyes with her. No deceptions. I don't want to live. I only want to rescue my daughter and destroy my brother. Do you truly hold that power, or are you as worthless as those gods? She smiled. She clenched her fist, crushing the final grains to dust. My strength won't merely kill him. It will make him plead for death. At first light, the guard arrived with my daily ration of foul water and scraps. But when he reached the pillar, he dropped it all in silence. He spun and fled as though pursued by demons. In the square, my brother lounged in his box, casually eating grapes while below the executioner purged the city of disloyal souls. He savored the spectacle until the guard burst in, pale as death, and dropped to his knees, trembling. He whispered through sweat-soaked fear, "Your brother has vanished. The pillar stands empty." My brother's smirk evaporated. He asked nothing. Fury overrode reason. He whirled and smashed the sword pommel into the messenger's face, shattering teeth. "Bring my horse!" he bellowed. He galloped to the site. He stared at the broken chains scattered on the ground. They weren't cut, they were shattered. He knelt and scooped a handful of sand in rage. He lifted it to his face and inhaled. It reeked of serpent. He gazed at the empty horizon. Fear flickered in his eyes for the first time. He understood. Any man can pick a lock, but no mortal shatters steel barehanded. This isn't escape, he thought as the desert held its breath. This is a summoning. The descent didn't end in impact. It ended in perfect silence. I drew breath. I braced for sulfur, heat, decay, but the air was crisp and strangely sweet. I opened my eyes, ready to battle demons, and the sight froze me more than any venom ever could. Light, not infernal flames, but pure blue radiance, blinding and clean. No jagged stone. Polished white marble, cascading crystal falls, domes gleaming like hidden stars. It resembled the paradise my priest once promised for the virtuous. But I was far from virtuous. I had just bartered my soul. I touched my chest. My heart thundered. The venom's agony had vanished. I looked at the Lamia. She stood watching, beautiful, terrifying, beneath that heavenly glow. "What is this place?" I demanded, wary. "Have you killed me? Is this my final delusion?" She laughed softly. The sound echoed through flawless walls. "No, fallen king. This is the hidden truth beneath your dusty wasteland. She approached and guided me to the terrace's edge. This is my domain. We crossed the gleaming citadel. It held no serenity. It was a lair. Hundreds of stunning yet menacing Lamias turned. Their gazes fixed on my neck. They hissed. Some drew so near, I smelled their hunger. Are they your followers or my butchers? I asked, eyes never leaving one with twin fangs. To them you are tender prey, she replied. She continued forward, shoving one aside with her tail. Only my authority prevents them from ripping you apart here and now. Only my presence stops them from tearing you to pieces right here and draining your blood before it hits the floor. Then why you? I met her gaze directly. You are a queen. Why descend to the surface yourself? You could have sent any of these creatures. Why risk yourself for a wretch chained to a pillar? Because a servant seeks a master, but a queen seeks an equal king. Any of them would have devoured you or enslaved you. I needed someone worthy, someone whose hatred burned so fiercely he could endure my venom and survive. I seek no submission, fallen king. I seek a true alliance. She moved to a recess in the stone wall. She withdrew an object wrapped in black silk and extended it toward me. An alliance for an unwinnable war, I murmured. A coldness settled, not from the night but from within. I felt hollow. I have stripped away your humanity to replace it with power, and you will need every bit of it. Your brother has forged a pact with the Nameless. A demon. No, something far older, something that consumes light itself. She unwrapped the object. A black obsidian dagger forged from void, absorbing every trace of light around it. Mortal steel would shatter against his hide. This blade will not. Void obsidian, tempered in the agony of this world. Take. Do not waste it on soldiers. Reserve it for the traitor's heart. I grasped the dagger. In my hand it felt steady, lethal, certain. I turned. Before me the floor ended. The black void began. Now you are armed. Now you know the truth. It is time to rouse your army. The bastard did not return to his palace. He crawled to his true master instead. He rode into the Forbidden Lands, a realm of black rock where even the sun refuses to shine. Only he was permitted entry. His escort was not. He stepped into the cave without glancing back, while shadow shredded his men mere steps behind. Inside there was no air, only thick fog reeking of fresh graves. He knelt on black ice. You promised me an untouchable throne, he said, voice trembling for the first time. Yet the pillar is empty. What has claimed him? The fog slammed shut around him. A colossal shape rose before him. No face, only curved horns ripping the dark and breath that froze blood in veins. Then it spoke in a voice like snapping bones. They have not taken him. He has descended. The cavern shook. Your brother has roused the mother beneath. That cursed one does not surface to bargain. She has granted him her nest, the stone legion slumbering under the crust. Thousands of warriors who do not bleed, do not eat, and never tire. If they march on you, your kingdom becomes dust before sunrise. My brother crawled forward across the frozen stone, desperate. My men cannot slay stone, he cried, composure gone. Help me. I have given you everything. Give me something to stop them. The shadow swelled, flooding the cave with unbearable cold. Then I shall unleash my own prisoners. I will grant you the void devourers. Blind horrors that feast on terror. They will reduce his stone army to child's play. The fog enveloped my brother, nearly hiding him entirely. But raw force alone does not secure victory. Come closer. I have one final command for you, something to ensure that even in victory, he loses the war. I plunged into the blue abyss. As I passed through the mist, the cold vanished instantly. I landed in a barren, desiccated realm. The air pressed like lead. It carried the scent of sealed tombs. As I rose, I saw them. I was not alone. Endless ranks of granite corpses surrounded me, giants waiting centuries for the order to kill. I walked to the farthest point. There sat the general, 3 meters of stone enthroned on rough rock. He held a sword across his lap, eyes empty beneath layers of dust. I halted before him. I recalled the warning. They heed no words. If your hatred proves insufficient, they will destroy you. I did not hesitate. I raised my blood-crusted hand and struck his rough chest. Pain crashed through me like a hammer. 1,000 forgotten wars tried to crush my mind. They sought to erase me. I offered no fear. I gave them memory instead. I showed them my brother laughing on the balcony, Sihara pouring wine for swine, the throne draped in human skin. The stone warmed beneath my palm. The general did not reject me. He drank my rage. A savage crack split the silence. The giant rose and dropped to one knee before me, bowing his massive head in absolute submission. A crushing weight surged up my arm. It didn't burn. It pressed. Stone began to crawl across my skin, sealing old scars, encasing my chest, forging living armor from the abyss itself. Now I wore the hide of the deep. I turned to face my army. They waited in silence. Rise, we have a kingdom to reduce to ashes. Thousands of yellow eyes ignited in the gloom. I stepped out of the darkness. The Lamia waited at the edge of the void. She said nothing when she saw my new form. She simply smiled. A shattered man descended. A colossus has risen. I am no colossus. I am vengeance incarnate. I turned to depart, but she halted me with a cold palm against my granite chest. Her smile faded. Do not grow overconfident. Your brother is a cornered beast. He will resort to cunning. He will strike at what you still love. If he harms Sihara, I will bury this city on top of him. That is your weakness, King. Remember your armor. If your heart softens even once, the stone will fracture. The ground trembled before the walls of my former city. My brother stood atop the battlements. No more grapes. His teeth clenched so hard his gums bled. He knew what approached. The horizon didn't fracture. It vanished. 1,000-meter wall of sand surged forward, devouring the sun, plunging day into night. We did not march alone. The storm was our banner. Through the choking dust, shapes began to appear, thousands upon thousands, filling the desert, shadows of soldiers and titans scraping the heavens. And bursting through the sand curtain, I emerged. No longer a wretch. I was the tip of the spear that would end the world. Before the wall, his swarm waited. Beasts of the Nameless One, a plague of bone and acid, pale armored horrors with tentacles lashing like whips. They drooled venom that could dissolve steel, screaming with endless hunger. There was no battle. It was annihilation. Flesh cannot stand against stone. My warriors pressed forward relentlessly, crushing skulls and bones beneath granite feet. My brother's army became a carpet of ruin in moments. He watched from above, frozen in horror. When the last abomination fell, my 10-meter colossi advanced. Their fists hammered the wall. The entire city shuddered. Open the gates, you traitor. Hand over my daughter unharmed, and I will show you mercy. Mercy sounds tempting, brother. The gate swung open. My brother stood at the center of the courtyard, unarmed. He had cast aside his sword. At his side, trembling, stood Sihara. Sihara! The embrace was desperate. I looked at my brother with disdain. He believed he had won. You held up your end. Now I will keep mine. Restrain him. Take him to the lowest dungeons. But my brother calmly drew a small blade. Stop. I think you still don't understand the nature of our bond. You cannot imprison me. You cannot harm me. With a swift motion, the bastard sliced his wrist in the shape of a cross. Sihara screamed in my arms and dragged her hand to her own wrist. I pulled her back and saw with horror that the very same cross-shaped cut was running down her skin. What have you done? The Nameless One has bound our lives. If I grow cold in a cell, she will tremble. If the chains brush me, her skin will tear away. If you leave me to rot in darkness, she will wither alongside you. He stepped toward me, untouchable. So no, brother, there will be no prisons. And he let out a laugh that echoed through the walls. Good dog. Now, step aside. I'm leaving, and she comes with me. He seized Sihara by the arm. Order your monsters to stand down. If I see even one stone move, she will pay in blood. If you try to follow me, the damage will be irreversible. And if you attempt anything heroic, my end will be hers as well. I slammed my fist into the ground. Humiliated, I gave the order. The Colossi and stone warriors parted, forming a corridor of silence through the center of the army. I had to watch as he took her away. I had to watch him pass through the ranks of my warriors, shielded by my own blood. Sihara looked at me one final time before vanishing into the desert storm. Her eyes begged me to do nothing to let her go. The gate shut behind them, and I was left alone in the city I had just taken. An empty city, a worthless throne. Only the filth of my traitor brother's guards remained, and for me, I had no mercy left. The Lamia emerged from the shadows of the ruins. I warned you, I said. He would use what you cherish, and he has brought you to your knees without ever drawing a blade. Be quiet. I turned to face her with the dagger in my hand. Tell me how to break it. Tell me how to sever the bond without killing her. The Lamia stepped closer and looked north toward where they fled. We cannot do it here. That magic is ancient. As long as your brother has his protection, she is his shield. She turned toward me. Her eyes gleamed with a new hunt. If you want to save her, we must go where the pact was forged. We must go to the Forbidden Lands. We are not going to conquer a kingdom, fallen king. We are going to slay an immortal. Let him be immortal. Let him be a god. I don't care. He has my daughter. She is the only love I have left in this dark and unjust world. And there is no hell deep enough to hide her from her father. You decide the fate of this story. Do you want part 2 now? Let me know in the comments. I have already shown that I deliver. If you call for it, it will happen. If not, we turn the page. The channel is yours. We have spent nearly 3 weeks and sleepless nights to reach this level, nights to reach this point. I only ask you for a few seconds to show that you want this to continue. Hit like and share it. And a special thanks to all the new members and the super chats. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this happen.